Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Vanessa Kai about Kung Fu on CW Season 2 finale coming up very soon. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so exciting. I love this show. A lot happens in Kung Fu, but the thing that kind of never leaves, I think, Season 1 and Season 2 is the family is kind of like right in front of you the whole time. Is it safe to say that's something that you were very excited, kind of was a big part of the show? Like the family component will never leave Kung Fu.
No, I completely agree with you. The family component is the core.
Yeah.
I love the Shen family. I love every character speaks to a broader scope of representation, of generation, of gender, and so forth. And I would also say that like Kung Fu also extends to the family of the Zhang sisters, right?
Yep.
Pei-Ling and Jilan, and then also now the Tan family and so forth. So, it's incredibly exciting. And I think that it also speaks largely of like all in the myriad of ways of how people can connect to our show.
I feel like how Season 1 kind of left off, and just naturally, whenever a show kind of comes back for a second season, Vanessa, there's always the obvious, like, whether it's, the showrunners or the cast, you want to make Season 2 better than Season 1. I feel like that's just kind of the first thing, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's also kind of just the natural kind of progression of the storylines. What's the thing that kind of like came to mind for you specifically when it was decided that you were going to make another season of the show?
What came to mind?
Yeah, because there's both, right? Like you want to make it better than the first, you want to make it bigger, you want to make it more intense, you want to make it more emotional, but like it's like what happens next type thing, right? The stories naturally progress, right?
Oh my God, Ash. Oh my gosh, absolutely. So I think that I'll speak for myself specifically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very comfortable, speaking. I think that for me, I just sort of sat tight and I waited. Right. Because a lot of the trajectory of where Pei-Ling goes and as we know where Shao, I had no idea this was going to happen. And so I just did my best to sort of sit back and wait it out and see and just sort of remain like open and creatively limber, and just and that's sort of that's really what I did. Yeah.
It's so interesting as well. I feel like there also is kind of like, I have a lot of friends that are actors. I interview a lot of people. There is this misconception that like actors kind of know what's going on and everything.
We know nothing. Pete, what are you talking about? We know nothing. I'll tell you how much nothing I know. There's so much nothing I know that in fact, what was it? I had no idea about Shao until we were already in the middle of shooting episode 3 and 4.
Oh my goodness.
So truly. And so like, I think that the conversation started around episode between 3 and 4, when the showrunners looped me in and then they said, hey, this is the idea that we have. And then they were like, stay tuned. And I go, wait, what? This is, oh, okay. I'm staying the tune. I'm right here.
Don't you find also, to add to that, like the fan theories are like the best? Because like how people like will be on social media or like send messages to like the cast and be like, I wonder if this would happen, or like this is my theory, and then you're just like, me too. Like I have no idea. Like I'm in the same boat. Like they think like they're trying to like get like a confirmation from you about a theory, and you're on the same page as them.
Peter, let me tell you something. I must confess, I tried to be as consistent as I possibly can in social media, right? But there's so much conversation that's happening that like it's very challenging to try to keep up with it all.
Absolutely.
In fact, it wasn't until I was doing another interview that someone looped me in on one of the theories, and I had no idea such a theory had existed. But it sounded so great to me that I was like, yes.
Well, naturally, and I feel like Kung Fu, I actually brought this up specifically with the interview of Olivia because I interviewed, Eddie and Shannon when season 1 came out, so there wasn't much to talk about. But for Olivia, we spoke like for the premiere of season 2. And it is a show where there's a lot of theories that can come out, right? Because of like, because of just like the backstories of the characters and the relationships. Like it is that theory show.
It really is. There was by no means is this true, but like there was this one theory that I heard, and I was like, oh my God, what? That Russell Tan and Pei-Ling were married.
Oh my goodness.
and it said, and I was like, wait, what? It was, but you know what, but it made sense because then that's the reason why that he knew so much about the sword, and then why he knew so much about the weapons and knew so much about and so forth, and like the drive to acquire them, and I was like, that actually sounds plausible. But
well, there was a lot of things like Ludi joins the cast, Ludi Lin, right, who I've interviewed as well. There's a lot of things around his character. Eddie's character has some of the best ones where they're just like, he might not be who you think that he is type thing. But they're so, yeah, but it's so like, I don't know. It's just like, it's so out there. You know what I mean?
It really is. But you know what? I absolutely love how much fun our fans are having.
Oh, the Kung Fu fans are the best. Like honestly, like they're great.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
And super creative, just in their theories and in the way that they're talking about the show. I love it.
Well, I think it's interesting because Kung Fu is part of the CW family, right? Mm-hmm. And you look at like, I've interviewed people from the Flash, and like the Flash fans are incredible too. And I think it has to do a little bit, Vanessa, with the CW. They create these worlds that are so like big and like they feel magical. You know what I mean? Like they really do. So a fan, there's a lot for a fan to take in from shows like Kung Fu, in my opinion. You know what I mean by that a little bit?
No, I do. Yeah. I do. And I find it, so this is my first show, right?
Yeah.
And so my first experience with this level of, especially fan engagement, right?
Yeah.
And so to hear them in the way that they are relating to the show, it's so personal and intimate, and like and I don't know what else to say other than like it's truly like just a really awesome experience.
It's been amazing. We're not going to go into too big spoilers, but season 2's wrapping up, finale right around the corner. What were some things, because it's interesting, because I think there's a place for both. I think there's a place for the binge, and I think there's a place for the week after week. I like them both. But, this show is a very good one for the week after week because you want to kind of let things kind of marinate a little bit in the ideas and everything. What can you tell us about some things that kind of stand out for you for season 2, some storylines that you kind of really enjoyed seeing? Like you go and you shoot it, right? But then you see the clips and it's playing back. What have been kind of standouts for you specifically with season 2 of Kung Fu? I'm curious to that. I'm asking you from an audience member, not a cast member.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you. What stands out for me? Althea's storyline.
Yes.
Her journey has been incredibly impressive and fulfilling and redemptive. Like, and for her and in her taking charge of her life professionally and personally.
Yep.
Watching her relationship with Dennis grow, also really watching Mei Li and her character, and and with Jin and as an older generation with their restaurant, and finding like that is really wonderful. Welcoming, Ryan's new love interest, boyfriend JB to Dina, play Sebastian. All of these are memorable, and also like, of course, like Vanessa Yao and Ludi, and Ludi Lin and
The last three people you've brought up have all been on my show. I'm telling you, I've interviewed a lot of your cast.
yeah,
We have a
absolutely.
lot of fun. It's good. It's such a
We have
fun
a
show to
great
talk
time.
about. It's such a fun show to talk about, though. It is.
It really is. It really is. I mean, like I sometimes find myself a little silly because like I'll, if I'm at a dinner, I mean, what dinner are we having? But like whatever dinner that I happen to have, and people are, I have to hold myself back from talking about kung fu because
It's
I
one of
love
my.
it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I do a lot of interviews and everything. I'm saying this right here, loud and proud on Popternative. It's one of my favorite casts of a show. It is. I'm gonna say that. If I was at like a convention or someone was interviewing me and says like, because like what I love doing on my show is I love our fans and our viewers love when we interview a lot of the cast because then they can marathon the interviews, right? They can watch your interview, then they can watch JB's interview, then they can watch
Yes.
Olivia's. They can do it. That's what we love doing. So we like to talk to as many people. But I can say that I really enjoy the Kung Fu cast. I have to tell you that.
Thank you, and we enjoy you. I mean, there's a reason. Yeah, it's absolutely reciprocal, and thank you.
No, it's so good. Okay, so two quick questions. Vanessa Kai is a storyteller. That's what you do, basically. You are a storyteller. What excites you specifically about storytelling?
What excites me about storytelling? Honestly, it's the collaboration.
Yep.
Right. I really love collaborating with others. Especially when you're working with like,
It's an amazing cast. Like
I mean, come on, Pete.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
When you've got, that's a privilege, right?
Yeah.
To be working with like such a phenomenal group of people as I do and on this show. And not just the castmates, not just the cast, but also our writers and our showrunners and executive producers, like across the board, the crew, oh my gosh, the directors, every single person, and everyone is talented and intelligent and so creative, and everyone is always game to play.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's so good. The game to play. I love that. That's amazing. No, that's so good. And season 2, I want to ask, so like there's a lot to get out of Kung Fu as a whole, like, because I'm going to ask you the question of when they watch Kung Fu, what do you hope they get out of it? But specifically with season 2 of Kung Fu, because there's a lot that's happened in season 2 compared to season 1. What do you hope they get out of it when they watch season 2 of Kung Fu on the CW, specifically takeaway wise?
Oh my gosh, what?
There's a lot. I know. I'm sorry.
There's so much.
Yeah.
What do I hope that they take away? I hope that our audience will take away a really exceptionally great time.
Yep. It's a ride. It is a ride.
It is a ride. I hope that that they appreciate just how that they appreciate just how good of a show as I feel it to be, that I know it to be, that I believe it to be, and that we all believe it to be, and that they have and honestly, I think that, not to be broken record, but representation. Like I hope that they'll
100%.
our faces and recognize, truly recognize that we are connected and we are just as relatable, and that the stories that we are telling are very common and universal themes.
Yes.
And that they'll walk away, they'll turn off the television and they said, I understood that.
And I'm going to be completely honest with you. You'll notice the feel and format of the interview where we didn't kind of like, I honestly think that Kung Fu is a show, maybe watch a trailer, whatever. It's very good, in my opinion. If you go in fresh and you watch it, it's like the best experience ever. 100%. So if you notice in this interview, like we talked a bit of the family and a little bit of things, but like we didn't, like I want people, like if you go in fresh, in my opinion, it's the best.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Completely. I think that as a standalone quality show that's well written, well produced, cinematically, directed, performance, it's great. It's a great show.
So here's what we're going to do right now. So for the people that have not watched Kung Fu yet, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a plan for them right now. So they're going to watch this interview, let's say Eastern time. So they're going to watch this interview at 6 p.m. Eastern time. They're going to watch this interview. Then they're going to grab a bite to eat. And then around 7, they're going to watch Kung Fu in the CW. Does that sound like a plan? Is that enough time? We're going to give them time, right?
Well, okay. So first, we our show airs at 9 p.m.
Yes, I'm talking about getting into CW. I was going to do the plugs, but I'm talking about season 1. I want people to watch season 1 and get right back into it, right?
Oh yes. Oh my.
Because these are the points of these interviews. We're talking about season 2, which the finale is out tomorrow, which is exciting and it's crazy. But we want them to watch from the beginning if they haven't, right?
Yes. So I think that your plan is an excellent plan.
So it's planned. But then it airs at 9 o'clock and the finale is tomorrow on the CW for season 2. And Vanessa, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. It was so great chatting with you.
Likewise, Pete, thank you so much. This was so much fun. It was so great.
Absolutely. So, and speaking of social media, Instagram, right, is the way to go. They can connect with you.
Yes, please. Yes. My handle is official Kai.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Vanessa Kai from Kung Fu on the CW and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.